Alrighty then. I believe we are, yes indeed, we are live, although no one else can hear me, right? Well, I mean, the audience can hear me, but the people I'm in the chat with cannot hear me, nor can you all hear them. But oh boy, everyone who's arrived, I guess I should actually give a little bit of time for people to actually gather but before I start with the little intro bit. But I guess in the meanwhile, I can pull up some music. What sorts of music is appropriate for New Year's activity? I don't know. We'll just do Victorian New Year music? Is that a thing? Does that exist? I know there's Old Lang Syne, but that's really about all that there is. Yeah, no, I'm not really getting anything. How about Baroque music, 1 hour? Will that do the job? Oh, yes, that will do the job for 3.5 hours. More than sufficient, my friends. More than sufficient. We'll put that on nice and softly. That's still very loud, in fact. Make sure that that's, like, barely audible in the background. Okay, I think that should be satisfactory. All right, then. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. As we gather round, I'll give another few moments here before we begin properly. But otherwise, play Barbie Girl. No, I don't think that that's fully appropriate for the vibe we're going for. But, I mean, hey, what do I know? Maybe I'm completely off about that. But, okay. Good. How many people do we have? We have 27 whole peoples here. That's pretty poggers, is what that is, right? Yes, I think so. I'll be attending my first true reenactment soon in April. Sally Only Inspector. Hey, that's still cool. Is that Battle Road? The one in April? That's a really good event, if that's one that you're going for. All right, let's see here. Let's give another minute, and then I will begin proceedings. I agree, this is hype. This is very hype. I agree. Okay, I think we're all sorted then on this end. I just have to actually unmute myself, and that will make it happen. They're all laughing. I'm looking in the chat. I'm muted. Not yet. I'm looking at them all. They're all looking at me. But they can't hear me. And and you can't hear them. I see they're all laughing. Oh, one of them has sunglasses on now. All right. Well, that because you're going reenactor. That's awesome. All right, very good. Now, everyone, time has begun. I will give a signal in 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. And they can hear you now, but hold on, because they now can see you. Wait, hold on. I'm getting an echo now. I didn't have an echo before. What's going on with that? Hold on. Oh, wait. We don't want them to see that. We don't want them to see that. We want them to see this. Okay. Everyone speak.
No.
Hello.
Oh, that's right. You're all there. All right. I think that we've done it then. Hello, everyone. Hello. A very professional live stream. We're already receiving some great, very positive feedback, everyone. We have music. We have images of people. We have a picture on the bottom because the framing didn't work out properly. But otherwise, everyone, as we are here, it's going to be basically... One person's rather frightened because it's Lalo Salamanca. I'm not sure if that's because of the sunglasses or if that's because of Jem. I guess you kind of do look like Lalo. Have you ever seen Better Call Saul?
Yes, I have,
there you
indeed.
Go. So take that for what it's worth. I guess he's a handsome man. All right, then, everyone. The entire idea of what we're doing here is it is a New Year's show. We're going to wrap up a little bit of the stuff that we've done. We're going to wrap up some of our favorite events and all of that. We're going to talk about reenacting. We're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about the future and what it may contain and hold. Glorious that it shall be, I am sure. But, my friends, it is not my show. I am providing the format, but I am not providing the hosting. That would belong to the illustrious, the noble, the proud, the grand, the great, and I don't know, I can't think of any other ways to describe him. That I'm sure he's chuffed to be here. Mr. Ministry for History, yay!
Thank you. So the original concept, first of all, for everyone that hasn't known me, I am Daryl, known in genteel circles as the Lord Representative. And this is the Ministry for History, as I say. This originally came up because we've been very negative online. We talk about how often the comments bother us, and the worst hot takes of 2022 was a great video for all of us. So
Yes.
we had to spend a little time talking about the good stuff, and I think this is going to be a good one because we're gonna review this past year, and we're gonna talk about a lot of the upcoming projects that all of us have and how everyone out there can get involved. So I guess we should just jump right into the or actually, you know what? Let's go around and introduce everyone because we have a new illustrious lad. We are now joined.
No,
Yes.
you're out. Get out of here with that. The sunglasses.
Adventures in Historyland.
Hello.
Introduce thyself.
Well, my lord, I am deeply honoured that I should be included into your august company. I am Josh Provan, sometimes known as Lando, from Adventures in Historyland. Anybody from my channel who has come over, hi guys. I am an author, a sometime artist, and a newest member of the Illustrious Lads, and I'm pretty sure I'm here to be hazed. So, let's go.
You are the real Englishman, so the pressure's on.
That's true. He's the only one who doesn't need a
I'm the only one. No, Brandon's more English than I am.
Tell that
We've
to
done the DNA.
Home Office, please.
Yes.
They've stopped answering my letters.
No! Oh, well.
Yes. Well, I suppose we must introduce everyone else. We have Chris, the Redcoat. Say hello.
Hello.
And you are on Lexington Green.
Actually, no. This is Fort Griswold in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see the SUV in the background. So
Yes.
I missed
Circa
it. There we go.
1781. Very
Yes.
authentic.
Yes.
You do look
And that
like...
far, yeah.
I was just about to say, you do look like you're giving some sort of game commentary on the battle. You know, it's going on behind you.
And then far off in the far off corner is the far off station.
Well, no.
Oh.
on
Yes,
my
it
screen,
is I, Jonathan here. Oh yes,
Oh, is
I'm
he
in the
over
middle
there?
too. I just checked.
No, he's down
I checked
here
the live
for
stream.
me.
I'm actually in the middle.
Oh, he's over there for me.
It's all disaster. It's already gone down.
Well, right in the middle is the farthest off station. Hey.
Quick, everybody start doing the Brady Bunch.
Oh,
Yes.
bloody hell. Oh, hi everyone. It's me, Jonathan here of the Far Off Station here on what you normally see in my videos. I won't make it too long because we want to get to the meat and potatoes of this little thing here today. Nice to see you all again. Actually, I can't see you, but I can see your comments.
See,
Yes,
you
and
said
last
you wanted
and
to keep it
least-
short, but that was the longest one of them all.
Okay.
Wow, I'm the one being hazed then, aren't I?
Yes. And then last and least, Anatolian Reenactor.
Wait.
Sorry. The illustrious Ottoman Reenactor. Cem, introduce thyself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream now.
And this is the ASMR section.
Oh.
The entire
Yeah,
thing going
you-
forward now. Which actually, it is a good point for me to ask all of the audience members really quick. How are audio levels? Can you hear us? Is the music too loud? Is the music too soft? Can we hear any one of us too much? Do we want me to just mute Chris entirely before we move forward? Any of these things are possible. Just let me know. Otherwise, people are excited to see Halberd Man.
The Ottoman
Oh, I don't have the halberd upstairs with me, unfortunately, because it doesn't really fit in this room.
That's fair. And
have a
also,
look.
Without taking out the ceiling.
there has been a Max wants me to mute Chris. I'm sorry, Chris. But timey-wimey corner of history nonsense has also left a super chat for £2, and I realize now I don't know what we're supposed to do with the super chats. Like, if it's any amount, I guess we can we'll donate it to some group or whatever. But he says, "Yo,
Whatever
it's
the
cool,
native oak
kids."
is doing.
Yeah, cool to see them all. So, hello everyone. Yeah,
Hooray.
here.
Yes, and I'm sure we will support whatever the native oak is doing this month.
Something
Yes.
in woodworking, I should think.
Yes, yes. So let's get started with our
That's why I'm
questions.
here.
Yes, put those glasses back on. The
Just proving out, man.
So the first question is 2022. What was the? But we can't just say reenacting because we have a non-reenactor in our midst. Hazing.
Hiss.
What
people
was the
exist?
best thing to happen to you and or your channel? What was like the best thing in public history, which is kind of what we all do, in 2022? So let's start with Brandon. Pressure's on.
Oh, I was with me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was looking more at audio levels again. Apparently, Jeff and I are a little quiet compared to everyone else, but so long.
We're
as
starting
everyone-
with the far off station because they're the furthest off.
Aha.
Oh, me.
can
So
barely see
honestly,
him.
this past year has been pretty dandy, all things considered, aside from all the negative comments that we all seem to get rather hung up on here frequently, all the time, every day, in fact. But actually, things are actually pretty dandy. Constantly, I always like that I have some great interactions with people actually in the comment section, and it's actually a very rewarding thing all the time. Some of the stories that people have talked about of like their family members in service in the last century is actually really cool, and I enjoy that profusely. There really isn't a whole lot of things out there that you can say is so rewarding, but when you get these people who are coming in and they're talking about their family member who might have served in X regiment in India or Singapore, etc., that is a really different experience that you can't get anywhere else. So channel-wise, I think that has been one of the most rewarding things and continues to be one of the most rewarding things to happen to me in this little old world of the internet and reenacting. Because when you do this weird reenacting thing on the internet, it's like reenacting, but the audience is so much larger. So you get a whole different number of people to talk to. So the interactions you have are even more, they're larger and more global. And I've had the great opportunity to meet all of you here. So I think that is also one of the most rewarding things and continues to be one of the most rewarding things to date of doing this internet YouTube thing.
Well, that's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like that it can be very easy. It is very easy to like focus on the negative comments, but I mean, there's definitely been some really positive interactions that I've had as well. And you're definitely right that it's very different from like normal reenactment, just because you don't know who the audience is necessarily, and you're kind of throwing like normally you can gauge things to the individual, but this is just kind of like throwing information out there and you're pulling in the net, and who knows what's gonna come in as a result. But
yeah, because I guess in YouTube terms, a lot of our stuff is evergreen content. Is that stuff that you don't know if someone's going to watch it right away, or they're going to come back 6 years later, and you're talking about their great grandfather's regiment. And I think that's great that you brought that up, because I love when you interact with people that you're teaching them a little bit about their actual history. All right,
That's what happens when you make your super niche content, isn't it?
yeah.
Let's go to whoever wants to go next.
That's not direction.
Oh, okay. Brandon said someone else, so it's got to be Brandon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, although I realized when I point, I'm pointing to different people for you than I am for me. So it could have been anyone there.
It's got to be Brandon.
Okay. Well, it has to be me. Well, I think actually that my fiddling with the volume kind of messed with me here, because John gave the most obvious answer. I think like the biggest one for I think everyone who does this kind of thing is generally just like it's always great to look back at some of the interactions that you have over the course of a year. Some of the comments that keep you going and whatnot. This is some great interactions and all that. As he tried to desperately to not focus on the negative. My New Year's... Well, no, we'll talk about resolutions later on, I guess, but mine involves comments. Other than, like that, interacting with the public and everything, well, I didn't quite hit 150 this year, but, like, we're right on the cusp, which is, like, roughly what my goal was, so I'm happy that that has been met. Hoping that we can... Nope, resolutions are coming later. Otherwise, I feel as though overall I'm beginning to get a better sense for my working patterns lately. Actually, it's something a bit more personal than on the YouTube channel. I've been working according to like more of like a weekly schedule, and my output has definitely improved. I would have actually gotten 3 videos out in December, but basically the sponsor approval took forever, and it only finally just now came in. And oh boy, I usually never get to do any additions or whatever for sponsors, but this time I get to like rework the entire ad, so that'll be a few extra hours of work. But here's hoping that next video will be right around the corner, and then I'm hoping even to be able to get up to 4 videos out this month, as I try desperately to learn how to do videos that are like less than a half an hour long each. But overall, I think this past year I've learned a great deal about myself and how I best work, basically, because that's always been the biggest thing for me, is struggling with actually doing stuff. And I've often said that if I could work a 40-hour work week, I'd rule the world by now, and I think we're edging closer to that. So you should all be afraid. You should all be very afraid.
Brandon,
We're
literally,
afraid.
he is the Illuminati.
Yes. Well, I mean, talking about negative comments, according to quite a few of them, I'm involved with that sort of thing, yes, by virtue of certain ethnic traits.
They're so insightful. They're so insightful.
They really are. They got me. They nailed me down.
Can we see your head in profile?
Well, I don't understand why that sort of thing would be so... But yeah, no, no, we're not talking about the negative comments, but those ones do continue to amuse me all the time, especially when people think that I'm going against that, like, the evil conspiratorial narrative, and they whatever. We talked about that last time, the guy who's like, thank you for helping us against the Judeo-Bolshevik narrative. It's like, do you know who I am? It's sort of like when people, are surprised that I like the British, and it's like, what, have you been here? Like, what do you think is going on here? Like, yes, I made a video talking about how the British were, like, the good guys during the Revolutionary War. Is this shocking news in any, like, hello? But, anyways, yeah. That's what I'm happy about. Working schedules.
All right, well, we mentioned ethnic profiling, so let's go with some ethnic profiling. Ottoman Reenactor.
What a segue.
It's all on you. What a segue.
By the way, sir,
Imagine the Ottoman police ethnic profiling meme everybody knows about.
Yes.
Well, I mean, obviously, for the years, past year, I would say, beside the funny comments, which we all talked about, I think, we got a $10 pledge.
Indeed.
Brandon, you might want to.
We'll come to that after you are done with.
But overall, I would say, I wanted to make more videos. I was trying to do some stuff, but life and whatnot kind of did put a stop to it at some points. But it's something that is fun to look back at some points. I did improve certain things, but there's always a way to improve, I suppose. But that's for New Year's resolutions. But anyways, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. It's an addiction. Yeah. Well,
What was the best 2022 impression?
I don't want to spoil it, Daryl, but
No, the one that's actually completed, because that one that you're thinking of is for 2023 release.
okay.
So what's the best 2022 impression? And hang on, let's stop everyone and remind the viewers. Cem is not wearing a reproduction. He is wearing an original uniform. He is such a big deal. Wow.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
This is my original 1940s Turkish officer's uniform. I even have my hat here, but I didn't want to wear it because you're not supposed to wear a hat indoors, apparently. But yeah.
Yes, well done. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great impression. Is that your best 2022? Is that what we're calling?
Well, for 2022, yes, actually, for a full-on kit, I would say I have pretty much everything I need for it. So, I even have the Redcoat, which is somewhere off there. But yeah, pretty much done,
Do you
completed.
have a car? Do you have a horse?
I actually have a horse which belongs to a friend.
See,
Which
it is
belongs-
complete. It is complete.
Well, I do. I would like to have a squad of men and a cannon, but sadly, no.
We're working on it.
I would like
What's
to.
the- What's the pay like?
I don't know, like $1 a year.
Oh.
You know, you take the king's shilling, but you take
I'm
the what do you take with the Ottomans? You just take like
Well-
a lump of coal.
A bag of sand.
Bag of dust
Yes.
and
I'm
maybe
just a
some
poor-
kebab.
I am just a poor peasant, Your Honor.
All right, Chris.
Oh, now before we come to that though, there was a super chat. I feel like there are
Yes.
good natural breaks here as we talk about it. Also, I made a little poll asking if we should donate to charity or split it up between all of us. And don't worry if they don't choose to vote to split it up between all of us, because between 6 people, it's not a lot.
Do we get the
but
vote
anyways,
on that?
you can all vote too. Go to the live stream and you can vote if you want to get your own bag there of like $1.
can't on my
But
phone.
but Wilfred has given $10 and said, "We will pledge your loyalty to Jean-Christophe, Prince Napoleon, Prince of Montfort, heir to the first and true Emperor of the French, true ruler of Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte." No. What a weird question.
Could you?
Maybe. I
Without,
mean,
is he trying to say Napoleon III?
I don't know. Maybe.
Which Napoleon are you talking about?
I don't know. There's a lot of names going off on there, but
it's
it
gotta
doesn't
be
matter.
well, Louis,
It's gotta be
Louis
the other
Napoleon.
two. Yeah, it's gotta
Louis
be one of the-
Napoleon. So it's Napoleon III.
Or is
He's-
it the
he's a
guy who
bad-
got killed in South Africa?
Yeah, that's his son, Prince Napoleon.
Prince Imperial.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But Napoleon III, he's a bad man. Bad man.
he had a strong sort of beard game though.
I know.
That goes in his favor.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, sorry, not much of a reaction there,
Okay.
but hey, the $10 is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And now we go back to Chris.
Yes, your $10 will go to cleaning blood grooves. Yeah,
It's
okay.
amazing how quickly
We're
I will
actually
sign
going
off of
to
the stream.
invest in an original Black Betty for Chris. It was supposed to be a Christmas.
Yes!
gift, so it's a little delayed.
I am gonna log off right now. I swear to God. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so 2022. What even happened this year? Honestly, I don't
Good
remember.
point. Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. 2022 was kind of a quiet year for me. I much like Jem said, I didn't. I was also not able to produce as much content as I would have perhaps liked to this year. Just again, life circumstances sort of got in the way. But I am fairly happy with some of the content that I was able to produce. In particular, the last video that I put out as part of our last collaboration, I was very pleased with how well that turned out, and the reception to that was very positive.
It was a really good one.
And I was actually very happy for the excuse to finally have a chance to talk about that narrative. For those who haven't seen it, the video that I am referencing is my video on the narrative of John Robert Shaw, who is a British soldier in the American Revolution who defected to the American side and actually stayed in America after the war, and had a very interesting life, shall we say. But yeah, I've loved that whole narrative ever since I read it in Don Haggist's book, British Soldiers, American War. And it's just, I've always found it to be very compelling, and it just struck a chord with me. So to finally get a chance to, talk about it in a video was significant for me. Aside from that, sort of in the very, very tail end of the year, we hit another big spike of viewership. The algorithm decided to smile on me once again. So I now have a video that is resting at just over 800,000 views, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
And we are also just at the cusp, I believe, of 18,000 subscribers. So closing the year on a few milestones.
Nice.
So.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to retroactively say that the collaboration was also one of my top. That was really good. I just have a bad memory. That was really good, though.
It's because we were
Smooth.
all riding off of the coattails of Etanche.
Well, yeah, he certainly helped, but oh, wait until the next collaboration, because for 2023 I have some very big plans, and I'm thinking of extending the time frame so we can get even more people in, but that will come later on.
All right, let's go to our Englishman.
Who? I'm sorry, I do not understand your language. I am just a poor country boy from France. Yeah, sorry. Highlights for me this year was with the channel being asked to come back to do collaborations with Brandon and you guys, really. Speaking of riding coattails, that's all I do to get to drum up subscribers. You know, my channel would be very, very insignificant if it wasn't for Brandon and the good graces of all of you guys. But that was actually a lot of fun, and I think that video was one of my favorites from this year. Then, sort of personally, I got to go to a history conference in Derby this summer, and present a paper, which is the first time I'd ever done that. So that was a big thing for me, and it was lovely to meet people and talk to them about warfare in America. Courtesy of Helion and Company and Andrew Bamford, who is my editor, and more of work with him to come. But those are probably the highlights this year.
Awesome.
And I have to apologize. I am probably the worst person here because I have your book, but I haven't yet read it.
Aww.
Which is worse than not having your book.
You have my book?
Soon.
But you have the only copy of my book?
I've been looking for that everywhere.
I was wondering why that had gone. Are you the person who read my book?
But I am looking forward to doing something on that. We're going to do something with the.
This is Wild East.
Yes.
Awesome.
Ooh,
yes, looking
that
forward
is
to
a
that.
cool topic. Yeah.
It is such an interesting topic. I have read the entire introduction.
I mean, that's all I can ask for, really.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick little spiel about the book and like what that process was like and everything?
Yeah. Talk about the book.
Sure, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, hold on. What was the name of the book again? I'm gonna link it in the chat.
That is my first book. That is Wild East: The British in Japan. I believe it's the date in the subtitle is 1853 or 1854 to 1868. My brain is hurting because it's I'm not writing in the mid 19th century anymore. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. I stumbled into the subject when basically I asked myself, you know that Tom Cruise movie? You know how Americans didn't really train the Emperor of Japan's army? What were the British doing at this moment? And to be honest, given the amount of stuff we messed around with in the world, why weren't we messing around in Japan? We must have been, and indeed we were. And I found a lot of interesting diplomatic figures to talk about. There was some great stuff from the National Archives, correspondence from the main diplomats in there. Amazing stuff, actually, in the Public Record Office, Foreign Office lists, whatever you call it. My brain is dead. It's no longer a functioning thing, you know. And lots of help from the Japan Society Library, and it was a lot of fun going to London to study in there as well. They had a lot of very helpful books. So it's one of my fondest memories writing Wild East, and it was complete luck that I managed to be able to write it at all. And I'm very grateful for everybody who's read it.
Awesome.
Not me.
I need to order it, actually. I've just been reminded that I need to order the book. I'm going to bookmark it here, actually, because it's definitely a subject that I need to learn more about.
Well, you see,
Very
then
soon. We're going to discuss it.
awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to defacing these these volumes as well. Whenever I get the chance.
And soon someone will comment that American soldiers single-handedly changed Japan because of their American ingenuity learned on the frontier.
I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is absolutely true. I'm so wrong. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I will just leave now.
Good.
Good. And then we can plan to talk about the next book as well, because that's the British in the East as well.
Nice. Now, just as a quick little way of interruption, 2 more chats have come in. Koala1203 with $5 has said, "Happy New Year, AD 2023, gents." He always gets very specific with his messages. Looking forward to an epic, looking forward to any... Blah, 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 blah. He says, "Just looking forward to an epic reenactment events." I think he was a typo in there for this year. If you're saying that you're looking forward to some epic events, that's awesome. If you're asking if we are looking forward to any events, that will come later on in the stream. And then also, Mr. Gaslight Studios has, with $5 himself, has said about the previous super chat, the one about the Frenchman. He was clarifying for us that it was apparently the current Bonapartist claimant to the throne, with the vacant throne. He is the current Bonapartist claimant. Personally, I feel as though the Bourbon line is probably more legit than the Napoleonic line, but honestly, I'll take whatever we can get. So,
No, monsieur, vive la République.
Well, I honestly, my take here is that the current Bonaparte should be recognized as the emperor, but he should be forced to live on St. Helena.
Oh. I
Yeah.
can get behind that, King of St. Helena.
If you
and
want
then
the
we have-
title,
yeah.
absolutely, have it. We have a place for you.
Sort of like how George was King of France until, like,
Yes,
83 or
brilliant.
84, right?
Yeah. So I guess I need to answer the question that I wrote. I wrote my own question. 2022 has been an incredible year for me. Some of you know I'm more or less permanent in the UK now, and it has been. Let's talk in YouTube terms first. All of you have been involved in making my channel a success. First, the person who has suffered the most for my channel is Cem. He nearly died in January of 2022, freezing to death, walking around the Royal Arsenal, and it's been an adventure doing all these different collabs with all of you. So it's been quite a success in terms of that. And 2022, just in general for me, has been a huge adventure. I got to go to Paris. I saw the Imperial Eagles. I saw hundreds of cannons, which I haven't edited the video for yet. I got to go to Trooping the Color. Thea and I went to Trooping the Color. It was incredible. Brandon and I got to go to the Rifles Beating Retreat.
Also known amongst the guards as the Walkies of the Color.
The Wookiees. Yes.
Walkies.
Wookiees. Brilliant. That's great. And then, I've had many different adventures. There are many different adventures to come. And there's just so much editing to come. So much editing.
The plight of this line of work.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many episodes. I do have about 10 episodes filmed, ready to go, not edited. Cannons in Edinburgh. I even have an episode on cannons in Disneyland. Haven't edited it yet. So, well, 2023 is going to be the year of editing.
There is absolutely an episode about Disney history somewhere for someone's channel.
Yes. So, oh my God, there is a feline visitor.
There is. I currently have a K9 visitor as well, although she's sleeping right now, so I cannot
I
retrieve
had
her.
to show her because she's the most photogenic cat I have.
Yeah.
And She doesn't like cuddles, so.
No one
Well-
wants to see dogs while there's cats around.
What are you talking
Hey,
about? It's a
hey,
cat
what are you
here.
talking
We have Gimish here. We don't need anything else, really.
How dare you, sir? My dog. My dog's going to sleep.
Grumpy. She doesn't want to be here.
Does
Uh,
Gimish have a favorite
And what is her
sultan?
name?
Silver, but Gümüş in Turkish.
Yumush. Okay.
I've learned
Okay.
something.
Well, that's exciting.
Very cute.
Yes. Well, so the next round of questions, I want to keep this one short because it's kind of the jokey follow up to the one we just answered. What was the worst channel segment for 2022? And not just your answer can't just be the comments. What was the worst?
The worst.
I'm gonna lead it off. So I think one of the things that we encounter is in reenacting and in history, you encounter subcultures. You know, and even within reenacting, there's the campaigners, there's the collectors of original uniforms that don't actually bring them out to anything. You know, there's many different subcultures. And one of the things that you can run into as a living historian, you run into collectors. And collectors want to talk about whatever it is. They want to talk about how many millimeters something is. And the exact metal content and where it was produced. And absolutely zero context. I'm all about context. I like talking about cannons because they represent the technology of the country that produced them and you know how they're being used. Like, I just love the context of bringing that all together. When I made my Gallipoli Star video, I encountered metal collectors from Turkey with feelings. They had lots of feelings. And so I got a lot of views on that video, but then I got a lot of
Feelings.
angry
nothing more than
Turkish feelings.
But I did
Yeah.
share your video on a Turkish metal forum, so
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
His
'Cause
fault.
the only
Well,
thing that they like,
unfortunate from a certain aspect, mind you.
yeah, I mean, it was good. It got out there. It just they had a lot of feelings. They had not a lot of research, but there were a lot of feelings, and they did not care about the context. They cared about the millimeters. So that's my worst experience. Not that bad, but I think that's always very annoying when you encounter a subculture that does not appreciate. You know, when you have that overlap, there's a lot of friction.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have a one worthy of sharing?
I
I
mean,
think I do,
Jonathan?
actually. Yeah, so this is kind of channel based and actually relates kind of to the comment section, but it is a thing that is grossly present in, I don't know if you want to call it reenacting culture, subcultures, just as an entity that exists. But people really don't seem to have a grasp of what it means going through things and researching things, and then you'll present it to them. And a lot of reenactors are just so stubborn. They're just like, no, that can't be. This is like my preconceived notion. And like we talk about it in the comments section, but this kind of thing is very present in reenactors themselves. Some of them you try to present of, you know, this is why we need to do better in certain areas, but they kind of just don't care, like flatly don't care. Yes, there is a point where sometimes you go too far, like you said, Daryl, and you do this millimeter count and there's no context and it doesn't help us understand history or anything at all. But there again comes a point where it's then grossly like opposite spectrum where none of it matters at all. You know, there's no context, there's no anything, and it's like talking to a brick wall. But some of these things that, you know, you'll talk about, whether it's material culture tactics, how this relates to us in our modern society, how this was what a country was doing at a particular time, they just seem to not care. And particularly in reenacting, it seems like it can be just a game of dress up to go out with your boys to play cowboys and Indians when
LARPing.
there is a real gravity to what you do in reenacting. And I that seems to be a constant struggle with reenactors. I hate to say that it's grossly older reenactors, but it is generally the higher percentage of people who are just so stubborn. You know, I've been doing this for X decades. Well, that doesn't suddenly mean we have to listen to every single thing you say, and that is correct. And I really hate making it this kind of ageist argument, but it can be really frustrating when it is important to be authentic and tell the story correctly, and people are just very stubborn. So that's a constant thing that you run into in the comment section, in reenacting, and beyond. It's kind of all one and the same.
Well, so often it's from unit culture and just the peer pressure within unit culture to do it the way that it's always been done.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
Which
that
in
stuff
itself is
just
kind of
such-
a logical fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
There's a
thing
lot
I
of- there's
think
a
I
lot of
struggle with.
feelings around everything you just said. We could spend literally hours
Yeah.
talking about
Yes.
that.
I think what it
going
comes
to
down is just
therapy.
there's so many feelings. That's just like, this isn't a feeling based thing sometimes, you know. So you
Yeah.
just
And people don't have to take things personally, but they often do.
Though
I
I
know
think
we all
we've
have personal
received-
experiences with that.
But we've all received comments that say facts don't care about your feelings. So maybe we're wrong.
Indeed.
Anybody else have negativity they like to share?
I have something fairly minor, which I
Okay.
noticed because a friend of mine showed it to me. It was from a Discord server, which housed many Red Army, Second World War Red Army reenactors. And apparently, my video on Soviet World War II reenacting is spreading a lot of misinformation for some reason, even though all the things I learned are from my experience as a Soviet reenactor who just recently started doing it, mind you, a year ago. So I made the video as a startup Soviet reenactor for the Second World War. And it's just, yeah, I got bullied apparently by like 13-year-old kids on a Discord server, which I had no idea until a friend of mine, hey, these guys are making fun of our group, even though we are technically the most well-researched Soviet group in the United Kingdom. So it was funny to see, to say the least. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Getting
sort of thing
bullied
is
by
always
13-year-olds.
fun. People pull out their Osprey book from the 90s and they're like, well, it looks like a Kirza pouch here, so I don't know what you're talking about with your, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, this drawing from 1985 says otherwise.
Yep, exactly.
newsflash: Osprey isn't the world-renowned source that you
Mhm.
think it is.
No.
Don't get
Wait,
me
what?
started on their Ottoman
Wash your
Reenactor.
mouth out, sir.
All right, who's next?
I have a little bit that I can
Okay.
touch on here, and it sort of ties into what my hopes are for this year and how I've been improving, because largely in more the beginning half of this year, my productivity and my personal scheduling and blah blah blah, all that stuff was kind of a complete disaster. I was in a rather interesting place personally, not to get all too into that sort of thing, but there were like some difficulties as far as like me finding the ability and the time to really sit down and get stuff done that I needed to get done. There was some like personal dramas that happened with elements of family and such. There were complications basically, and that sort of like muddied the waters, financial difficulties, all that kind of thing. But like going into 2023 now, those things are starting to improve, and so that's why I'm looking forward to sort of getting back on the horse as far as content production, and making a few changes. But that definitely made things rather difficult. Is that at least in the beginning half of this year, it was a very slow year, and that definitely impacted what could have happened in the latter half. Like I feel like if I had maintained my momentum that I had in like the end of 2021, I could have gone to like 200K this year. But 150 is still very, very good. So there was some lost potential, is what I'm saying, basically. But I'm looking forward to getting that back, to reclaiming that potential. So yeah, so the beginning half of the year basically was like a little shaky for me in a number of different ways, but now things seem to be, back on the upslope, downslope. I don't know what it would be. Going down the hill is easier, but you don't want to go downhill because that's a bad thing. Whatever, you get the idea. So there's a little something for me. And while I have everyone's attention, yeah, there we go. Look at that. There's a transition. More super chats. It's actually been doing pretty well so far. Wilfred with $5 has a bunch of like really weird like esoteric history questions. I'm sorry. Normally it's a lot easier when I'm just talking to people directly. I can answer these things, but it's a little strange when there's 6 of us. But all the same, it came along with $5, so we have to be appreciative of that. Did Simon de Montfort do anything wrong? People are asking. I don't even know who that is. It's saying the vanquisher of tyrant kings and usurious bankers, which sounds a little like parentheses.
Flowery words. Flowery words. Simon de Montfort is considered one of the great early defenders of liberty. He briefly had control over the king until Edward I came along and got all Edward I in his face. And he was killed amongst many others at the Battle of Lewes. Evesham. The Battle of Evesham. And, which was called a massacre rather than a battle. Whether he was a good man or a bad man rather depends on whether you prefer medieval kingship or some sort of proto-republic-y kind of thing that he tried to replace it with.
Well, that's the difficult thing with like that early medieval history. It's like there's really no way to translate it to how modern government works, and a lot of people tried to do that. It seems like, so it makes things. But did he ever do anything wrong?
Oh, I'm sure he did. I mean, you're talking about the 1200s here, for heaven's sake. Answer solved. What's that one Mitchell and Webb bit? The like big think or whatever, and they're like, right, God, does he exist? Go. Like, well, I don't know, like, what is this? We need answers here. All right, anyways, Gaslight Studio wants to know if we'll find him an acceptable heir to the Bonapartist line.
Hey, there's a room open on St. Helena right now. Go buy a ticket, get on down there. We'll
make it happen.
Probably recognize you.
I mean, how many people are even down there? An armed revolt could do pretty well, probably.
If
I don't even need the armed revolt. I mean, if you spend a goodly amount of time in St. Helena as an eccentric gentleman, I think you might get recognized as the Emperor of the French.
Let's just kind of go along with it. All right.
Well, if I may, my dear friends, I have been called a Corsican by many French people.
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry.
I can volunteer for an extended vacation.
I think that profile would look very good on a coin.
Yeah, that's true. It would be. The mustache and everything.
I mean, this profile is quite famous as a world leader that many people know that I quite look like. I'm from Georgia, but
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, Jem is a very coinable lad. He's
a very coinable lad.
He's got the most numismatic face.
I like that word. That's a good word.
I think that's a good word. I think a new CV is going to be required here for all these.
Yes.
For all this.
And finally,
right, who else wants to be negative? We got one more.
Yeah, one more. 23rd. All these people gave $5. And 23rd Light Bob has given $5, saying, "I'm thinking of getting into World War I reenactment for the AEF. Any advice?" Well, my advice, first of all, change that A to a B, and it'll be much improved. But otherwise,
absolutely.
All the same advice as usual, honestly. You can reach out actually to me particularly if you have like very specific questions on like Instagram or whatever. I can like share some advice. But more broadly, you're not going to get everything perfect right off the bat, so don't panic about that. Take it, play it, safer than play it nice and safe, because Newville can be a dangerous place with actual barbed wire. Take everything nice and slow. If you fall behind a little bit, that's okay. It is just a game ultimately. And stay hydrated, stay warm, pack plenty of winter kit if you're going to Newville, because dear Lord, cold. Stay hydrated.
Unless you were there this past November, it was 78 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, apparently. Dear Lord, I need to get back to Newville. God, I miss World War I.
You guys using
so
freedom
much.
units.
I've only done like 1.5 events.
You have to really like the guys you do World War I reenacting with, because you are just up in their business.
Yeah.
It's a
Well-
very embrace the suck kind of time period.
Hmm.
Yeah, just remember that Lord Rivers is behind you. Just
Far,
12
far
miles
behind
behind you.
But if I may tack on to some of Brandon's suggestions, I'll also just add, if you haven't done so already, check out the Great War Association's website. They're a super helpful resource when it comes to understanding what sort of reproductions are acceptable and not acceptable
Yeah.
for the time period. You know, what vendors to go with, which ones to avoid,
Mhm.
all that sort of thing. Great resource.
Yeah, and also definitely just talk to the groups that you're looking at joining
Yeah.
before you buy.
Ask your
anything.
unit.
Yeah, always ask the unit. Always ask the unit. All right, carrying on then. Other negativity?
I mean, one of the benefits of having a relatively quiet year is that, you know, there wasn't really all that much to have happened for there to be potential for that much negativity. I really only experienced, I guess the only real negative thing that I had happen was just I had some disappointments in regards to events being canceled, you know, due to circumstances that were out of my control. But I had a really great plan for, you know, all these videos I wanted to film with my group. We were going to have like a light infantry drill / camping weekend over in Lexington this summer in June, which got canceled due to extreme heat. The Park Service didn't fancy all of us collapsing on them, so you know that got canned.
It was at Lexington. It wasn't meant to be Monmouth.
Yeah,
An in joke there for the 18th
very
century.
very true. Yeah. But yeah, no, I had a bunch of really interesting ideas that I wanted to film. We had a fun idea for 101 uses for a bayonet. That was going to be a thing. We were
that's
going to do a
fun.
video on, you know, constructing wigwams and just, you know, authentic 18th century camp life. We were going to do that. We even had plans to do like a live fire training exercise against targets.
That's after the wigwam is built.
Yeah, exactly.
Only if you're reenacting purely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true.
Hmm.
But yeah, sadly, the heat just did not allow for that event to happen.
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, well, no big deal. We'll try again in the fall. And then our big event for the fall got rained out. There was a hurricane. So,
Yeah, that'll do it.
yeah, you know, just kind of...
Inconsiderate nature. Come on.
it sucks, but yeah, what can you do?
Embrace the suck, my friend.
2022 was a year of interesting weather, shall we say.
Yeah.
That can be a motto for all reenactors. If you want to up your authenticity game, embrace the suck because war sucks.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Chris, you should have actually collapsed of heat exhaustion and died at the Lexington event. That would have been far more respectable. And I'm not sure if we can really follow your channel anymore, knowing that I say this as the guy who hotels at events.
Oh,
Well, Jonathan, I think, is probably the most hardcore out of any of us doing that Bunker Hill event in July.
Oh God. That was some authentic.
I've triggered his PTSD now.
I hate though to say it. I got up to the top of the hill at Bunker Hill and I was still ready to go. And I'm like, what is everyone else's problem? I'm like, yeah, that's right. You spend a lot of time in the heat. But yeah, that was terrible.
You brought your
That was-
pith helmets, isn't it? I can see them behind you. Don't pretend you didn't go prepared.
Oh yes. Unfortunately, the 18th century British Army did not have really good head protection.
Yes,
I heard that everything you've ever said about pith helmets is wrong. That's what I heard on the internet.
How dare you
Probably
misquote
on,
me?
It's probably in Pith Helmets Unlimited or whatever that group is.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely can't do
Surprised.
puggeries or anything. It's bad.
well, you have to
Yeah,
understand
you know,
this is
if you're
a
gonna
far
talk
more
about a-
authentic pith helmet than the one you have on the background.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know the one that's
Look
real?
at the thickness of
The
that
one that's
cork.
real. The tasteful thickness of it. I feel like we should recreate that scene, but just with like historical kit.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like let's see River's musket.
yeah.
Well, look, just look at it. Look at it. The texture. I slept on this. I slept on it
What?
as they did. Look at it.
Oh,
So
God.
authentic. It's authentically
Delightful.
damaged.
Any other?
All
I
right.
think Josh, you're the only
Uh,
one who hasn't mentioned anything.
What,
right?
what was the worst adventure in Historyland?
The ones that I badly edited, probably. It's all self-harm that I can think
Oh.
of, really. The my own ineptitude is generally what at the second my bad moments are. If it isn't comments telling me that I sound like I have a sock in my mouth.
You don't?
I do actually. I practice talking through one all the time, just to make everybody pleased. But yeah, it's nothing major. I don't think my channel's big enough really to attract the sort of the personal sort of disappointment, so to speak. My channel is very much a sort of something that I try to do as best as I can. And if it works, I'm very happy about it. And so maybe my biggest sort of negative is that I should have spent more time on the channel than I did.
Okay.
That's
And if anybody's still listening, we need you to go over to Adventures in Historyland and leave your meanest comment.
Yeah.
Just comment sock over and over again.
Yeah, I'll know who sent you.
Well, Brandon can do that with his alt accounts.
That's true. I have like 500 of them.
Good luck. I'm behind 7 proxies.
All right. Do we
Find
have
out.
any announcements from the B-Man?
Any announcements?
Yes.
Super chats.
Many,
Or are we
many...
transitioning to the next question?
Oh, that's what you mean. I thought that was the next question. I'm like, oh, that's kind of like impromptu. Okay. Let's see. Just one. Wilfred with $5 has said, I will send a $50 super chat if you all sing Men of Harlech in the Zulu manner. Can we get this reenactment? Zulu is the worst rendition of Men of Harlech. I will never forgive that film for making up lyrics when so much better lyrics already exist. Like,
Brandon, I appreciate your passion, but £50.
£50,
$50
Brandon.
is a bit less than £50.
Okay, I'll put you
still
£50
money.
and we'll do
I
it.
don't dance for my bread. Not even my bread. It's going to, like, I don't know, the British Legion or whatever. They've raised almost £20,000. We don't need this.
Wow, Brandon, stop your dreaming.
Brandon, pride is a
Can't
sin.
you see those spear points gleaming?
What if I just put on the song and we all lip sang a little bit?
Okay. That's not part of it.
No. What if we all just had a dramatic reading and we went one by one? See there, warrior pennants gleaming.
What is this, like a 1980s like Save the Children in Africa music video?
Yes.
Yes.
It is. And your money goes
It's
to
going to be like that
Blood
thing in
Groove's
2020 with all the
reenactors.
celebrities singing
God.
Imagine.
Oh God, no one wanted this.
No.
That's right.
no,
You can't even write an original song for them anymore. You know.
All right. Well, I spoke like 2 bars of it, so that's at least worth like 30 cents.
That's got to count for something.
We'll break it up.
Yeah.
It didn't say how much of it we had to sing, did we?
Yeah. I mean, we got a full line. So.
Imrohim, boys. Imrohim.
Yeah. And we need so many of those radio. We need sound bites. We need Usuthu.
Oh God! Did you ever see the video from like ages ago, years ago? Someone uploaded a video comparing the chant in Zulu. Apparently, the same chant is used in Gladiator for the German.
Yeah. So the director loved Zulu, and so they actually just took that audio and used it. It wasn't that they redid it or anything. They used the actual Zulu audio.
What?
Well, I mean, it's not nearly as stupid as the fact that they made fake Latin for the soundtrack.
Did they
really? I just don't like that. That brings out true rage.
What Lorem?
It sounds so great, but it's fake Latin.
It's like the Dorime song or something.
Yeah.
like all of the Latin scholars in the world died a little inside because I mean we have the people, we have the technology.
Yeah.
We can
You
make
know,
it
and
better than
The
it
songs
was.
already exist. Just do like flip anything. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and
Yeah.
Understand,
I guess.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you didn't know, the war cry sounded cool, but if anybody had seen Zulu, they just immediately immersion is broken. What the heck
Yeah.
is that doing there?
yeah, it did actually take me out of it immediately at the beginning. Like it just, yeah.
The thing about directors is they're control freaks, so you can't say no to them.
They have a vision, don't you know?
It
I
is my
will-
vision!
And I want these Germans to speak in Zulu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what the historian thinks. Just do it.
I still need to make. I received another. This one was actually very, very kind, so like I won't go in on the guy because it was a very nice comment. He's a very nice guy and it's a fair conversation. But like again, like people asking and be like, "Well, Brandon, it's only a movie." I like obviously the Patriot is inaccurate, but like it never claimed to be accurate. What does it matter? It's like I want to make a video where I go off on like basically like reading or whatever. I'm gonna like write an alternative script. I'm gonna make a World War II movie where the Nazis are the flipping good guys, and then it's like, why are you offended? It's only a movie. It's fiction. What? It's all fake anyways. What does it matter? It's like if that's the logic, then all of a sudden flipping Birth of a Nation is like there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, oh.
And it would be one thing if it were just some obscure YouTube video, but like this was an international, you know, huge movie. It had a cultural impact.
A massive cultural impact. Flipping Braveheart's even worse in that regard. So
Yeah.
Anyways, another chat as well. Zachary the Fifth has come in with $17.75, as you may have expected. Just like bloody redcoats.
Yes.
Okay,
Excuse me.
pretty good.
He's got us
Redcoat?
there. He's got us.
Touche.
There. Oh, yeah, except for the.
Well,
worn a
actually,
redcoat
they're
before though, haven't you, Jem?
Excuse me, they're
Well-
matter. It's matter red, so it's not matter coats.
I have
actually-
worn Crimean War coat, yeah. For
Yeah,
a meme.
you're in with us. You're in.
Excuse
Ow.
me, my undress coat is blue.
Not that one, for another event. I'll send you the photos again, maybe.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Man, I need to get
All
another
right.
red coat.
Give me a second, I'll
We better
find them.
move on to
Yes.
the next step, which is 2023. What's gonna happen? What's going on?
What is going on?
Yeah,
What-
what are the new projects? What is the future of your channel? How can people get involved? What's going on? Who wants to go first? Oh well,
That's a nice
Jem.
picture.
Jem's going first then.
He just volunteered.
No, oh god. That wasn't my intention, but okay. So 2023. First thing we want to do. Obviously, this is. Should I get into it, Daryl, or do you want to get into it properly? Because you are the main brainchild of this thing. Okay, that awkward silence is just
Dead
scary.
rare.
Did I cut out?
He's asking you a question.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did I get into it?
We can.
Well-
I'll mention it in my section. You can talk about it if you want.
No.
I'm ready. Like, okay,
You do it. No. You should.
Oh,
you
the
should-
fizz is going on.
The
He
fez
got-
is going on.
My goodness,
so-
it's General Gordon.
Yeah.
With Lord, together with Lord Rivers, we are working on a Crimean War impression.
I think you mean Rivers Pasha.
Yes, it is Rivers Pasha because
It
you
is
know
Rivers
I
Pasha.
can't do a historical impression without it being incredibly pretentious. So now I'm pretentious in Turkish too.
Best way to be.
So
I think
the-
that is how
the-
you're supposed to wear the smoking cap with headphones on. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
I
my
agree.
god. The plan is to portray the Crimean War in a way which has never been done before. Ironically, everybody knows about the French, the British, and the Russians. The Russians.
Russians.
The Russians.
Russians.
But,
Look at it.
nobody talks about the Ottomans. It's quite funny to think about that people reenact the Crimean War without the Ottomans being present. So, for 2023, which is technically an anniversary of the Crimean War because it started before 1854, we are going to be portraying an Ottoman artillery unit, aide-de-camps and whatnot. So mostly a staff impression, but it should get the point across that the Turks were in Crimea. So yeah.
Why would they be in Crimea? That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That sounds made up.
Yeah.
This doesn't line up with my preconceived
I could have the
notions.
source for it. But yeah.
Wait till you hear about the Balkans.
Yeah, what happened in Silistra? Can anyone remind me?
I mean,
Yeah.
did it
I don't
even
know.
happen at all? Did it even happen at
I don't
all?
know.
I mean,
So
I don't
that's
even
the
think
plan.
that's the
That's the
place.
plan. It's just like talking about made up stuff about the Ottomans in the Crimean War.
I mean, we all love a good fanfic, you know. Gotta LARP that artillery group. That's pretty cool.
Chat will get a big round of applause if you can tell us the most famous Turkish Ottoman general from the Crimean War.
Turkmen. M. Turkmen, at your service.
Yeah,
Well
Yeah,
done, sir, well done.
that bloody Turk.
No, so as far as the process goes, though, like putting together the impression, how are you getting the clothes? Are you gonna try and eventually get a gun? Are there other people involved? What's the research? Tell us more about.
The basic thing started together with Daryl was obviously looking at period photographs, which luckily we have like 10 or less actually when you count. We have like
Actually, kind of makes it
7
easier in a way, doesn't it?
7 photographs of Ottoman troops in the Balkans, so 1853 to 54-ish, luckily. And it's a very limited perspective because the only ones that are good are infantrymen, but there are some artillery photographs there and some cavalry, but they're off in the distance. And luckily, the Russians, being so kind, actually did some drawings, possibly for military identification, from 1849, so right before the Crimean War almost, and they are very well detailed. So we designed costumes. I mean, I did some basic drawings so that it's easier for the tailors that Daryl works with, and we got certain uniforms made through Daryl. And
many?
he is like, how many did we got made? Like 10?
Well, there was a lot of mistakes, so now we got some backup uniforms too. So
Okay. I thought you said 30 at first. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's a
wow.
lot.
no, we're not
Start a
we're
whole
not ready
unit
for
like
that.
that.
Yet.
Yeah, that's
But
But,
the
you know,
plan is to modify the backup uniforms so they look correct for at least enlisted men. And obviously for guns and whatnot, portraying officers, we don't require those silly little things. We are going to be getting swords, apparently. They might be stuck because of, Calamity Bay being, a bit of a trouble.
I heard there was a storm. There was a great episode about that.
There was a storm which might have sank a couple of ships, but we're waiting on our swords. And obviously the fezzes, the cute little things, which are painful to make properly.
Well,
right?
I guess I'll do one half of mine now and one half of mine later. So I'll just finish up talking about the Ottoman Crimean War stuff because it really has been amazing to research because it makes me feel just how, not that World War II reenactors have it easy, but like when you have actual photographs and you have so many more resources, this has been such an interesting one to do because there's, you have an illiterate populace. We don't really have a lot of, literate Turks. A lot of the officer corps was European. We have a linguistic divide because Ottoman Turkish was written in Arabic script, and it was a lot of that hasn't been properly scanned yet, so we can't really read it. There's two steps. There's translating it out of that script and then translating it into Turkish. It's I we've run into a situation where I've sounded it out, and Jem will then translate it, and it's very difficult like that. And it's true, there are less than 20 photographs. The challenge is awesome, I think, and there are Russian drawings. It's occasionally in the background of British drawings and French drawings, and you'll occasionally get some interesting research. I even come across stuff and send it immediately to Jem that, like, oh my god, I found this guy in the background, and it's amazing, and we'll be super excited about the fact that we found a guy in the background from an original drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of the fez is the main. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, because the fez usually just has a cloth thing at the top, but they actually had a brass disc on the top of their fezzes, and we had, for the longest time, we had never seen it from the top. And then we found some resources for looking at the top of it. And two more things I want to. Yeah.
I was saying, I presume you've seen the Fenton photographs.
Yeah. Those are the main ones. Those are the main ones.
And a lot of those are Egyptians that came later in the war. Because Fenton isn't photographing until 1855.
Oh yeah, he's way late. But the uniforms I figured would be helpful.
It's a bit different. The Egyptians.
Yeah, they're like soft fezzes, and the Turks have these more rigid ones.
That's a nice thing as well. There's a difference between the Egyptian army and the Ottoman army. What are you talking about now?
Yeah.
Also Cadogan.
Say again.
Cadogan.
Cherry bums, yes.
Not Cardigan. Cadogan. He was an officer in the Crimean War. He painted a lot of stuff in watercolor. That's what I was looking around for. I was trying to find the book that has all his sketches in to see if there's any Turkish soldiers in it for you.
Yeah, you got to look, because you never know. And a lot of times the interest level is so low, and the contempt, in period, there's contempt for the Turks. I think that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about.
Their war as well, isn't it? It's basically their war. It's another Ottoman Turkish. It's not the Turkish Russo-Turkish war.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. and yet they're being sent to the sideline. Yeah,
especially during the Crimean Peninsula stuff.
I won't reveal what's coming up, but there will be another thing I'm working on with another channel coming up. That there is a game set in the 19th century. Many of you will know.
What could it be?
There's a 19th century tabletop simulator game that's going to be coming out that talks about different times when people are firing and maneuvering. And that
would be a good name.
When they made that game, there is just such contempt for the Turk, and it's based off of. I'll go into it on my channel, but the basis of contempt for the Turk and basically calling the Turk, bad soldiers and bad militarily, doesn't come from actual sources. It comes from Russian sources and Balaclava. Because we know at Balaclava, the British encounter the Turk is when they're running away. Now, the context of it is the entire Russian army attacked the Turkish outposts, and they held for 2 hours. But I guess when the first thing you see is, oh my God, the Turks are running away. And that's all that gets posted in the newspapers. And so for 150 years, for 170 years, wow, it's been a while. We have seen people. Is it 170? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the exact matters.
Yeah, there we go. Well, no, I don't know. Anyway, well, if you're watching this 20 years later, I'm sorry. The persistent feeling is that these Turks are just silly, and at the time they did get used for manual labor. Even some of the troops with the most combat experience and the officers with the most combat experience get tasked with road work. And so it's going to be an interesting project. And I always talk about context. I wanted to mention this sometimes because everyone has a different approach to reenacting, and I have done my fair share of the combat reenacting. I'm still a battalion commander in Civil War reenacting and get involved in the actual, powder burning aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And then there are the reenactors who they just kind of strut about. That just wear frilly things and kind of strut about, and they just show up and think they're important. Well, I'm somewhere in between that for this Ottoman impression, because we do strutting with context. And instead of just portraying two of the lowest soldiers, we want to show that the Ottomans were a legitimate army. They had real uniforms that were put together. And a lot of times these were competent, educated people. Turks, Armenians, Egyptians, Greeks from all over the empire, and mercenaries from all over Europe and the Americas that came to, form the Ottoman army. So we'll be strutting with context. We will be we'll have swords, but we'll be bearing, papers and telescopes more than our guns.
Not to mention that, but we do also have, luckily, the infantry regulations and infantry drill manual from the 1813 time period. So if we are lucky to have some enlisted men, we will be able to perform drills with them, because that manual is now translated to Turkish, so I can translate it to English at some point.
Awesome.
All right, who's next? 2023.
Just one really quick thing before we move on from that, and then we'll move on. But where are these reenactments taking place? Someone asked. Obviously the UK, but
yeah, I mean, my first plan is to actually go and walk around the remaining Turkish cannons in London. There are two large Turkish cannons that we're going to have to photograph.
So events
and discuss and
be decided upon. Really.
Actually, the first big event that we're going to, that Gem and I are going to, is British only. So we're going to be doing Crimean War British, most likely.
All right.
But the Turks will arrive soon.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Turks are already there.
Yes, perhaps.
All right. What else we got?
All right, 2023. Who's going? Jonathan looks the most bored, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So for me this year, it's kind of just really try and get better at making content, and there are all these things that people want to see, and sometimes that can be hard. So it's really kind of improving. Yeah. And there are all these different things that I want to make videos and pieces of content on. I just haven't gotten there because they take a lot of time and energy. So yeah, just getting better at doing stuff like that. But 2023 is going to be more of a refinement year and try to do more things with the things that I have, because I don't necessarily utilize my stuff as well as I sometimes could. So it's going to be a year of stuff like that. Since 2022 was the year of big grand things, this is taking those big grand things and doing something with them. So it's the halberd guy kit was refined and completed last year, so now it's kind of just making that kit look good and using it in a very proper kind of way and being better with it. So that's what 2022 is going to be. And last year we did some work with Atun Shea, so again that was a year of grandness, and now it's see the kind of the things that I helped him with this past year and see them go onto the big screen this year. So it's kind of a year of seeing the rewards of last year take place this year. So that's kind of what I think this year is going to be. So yeah, much fun.
Well, that's exciting. I'm excited for the Atun Shea stuff. We saw the photos.
Yes.
We saw the silly hats.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what that was all about.
Yeah, I hope you were declared a witch.
No, I did portray a hapless Englishman. It's a very small role, but you shall be seeing it probably within the month.
Awesome.
So
That's exciting.
Awesome.
you'll probably, little spoiler, you'll probably get see me get slaughtered over and over again in an Atenche video.
Wow,
It's
so
always
so
enjoyable.
That's the goal.
Jonathan has entered the Atenche cinematic universe.
In a way, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's true. I will become canon. Yeah,
That is,
in a way.
that is the goal for us all, and then we can all, because once you've reached those heights, is there anything else?
No. But then the rest is just waiting for the Sudbury Devil to come out, which should be really exciting.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we all have to wait more, don't we?
Everybody has to start practicing their 17th century New England
Yeah.
accents.
It's funny. We all did voiceovers for each other's channel this year.
Yeah.
I actually attempted an early modern one. It was pretty good.
I like how everyone in that video attempted to do some kind of accent, and then at the end there's just me speaking normally.
I have to be
Yours
honest
was
with you.
probably
That,
the most authentic of them all.
that video was kind of fun.
maybe.
I liked having everyone in it. That was
That was a really good video.
real
Yeah.
jolly thing. And I think Daryl though had the best accent in terms of like authenticity. That was probably the best early modern accent I've heard to date. So
Just for clarification to the viewers, I was not in this video because I was not yet part of the Illustrious Lads group. And I just,
But now
Well,
he's
if
in.
you were, then they were. If you were, they would have complained about any RP accent.
well,
true.
exactly, of course.
yeah.
You need some OP.
Yeah.
well, actually,
And
one-
something about the voice being muffled, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the monotone. Why'd you get that guy? What's he?
Oh my god.
I know I got the comment about Atun Shea's super RP accent, but actually,
Yeah.
Andy had sent me two different versions, and it was more like what Chris had done, and then it was the one that I included in the video. But the one that I included in the video, I thought was significantly more entertaining and just over the top. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is memeable, so that's the one I chose. I know,
Yeah.
not very authentic, but way over the top and super.
There's value
funny,
to
and I
having
think
things
that-
be more fun as well sometimes.
I think it didn't make it as dry, so
Yeah.
but, yeah.
What about
Thank you.
Chris?
All right. Yeah,
Who are you pointing at, Brandon?
Oh, that Chris.
Chris.
I'm on the opposite side of the screen on my end. So
The Redcoat of tomorrow.
Yes.
yes.
And more in jokes that no one understands.
Well, yeah. Well, if we're talking about special plans for 2023, I have something just off of frame, which I will go fetch for you in a second. Some of you have probably already seen this if you follow the community posts.
Visual
But,
aids.
Please hold. I'll be right back.
we are holding.
Lobby music is incoming.
Indeed. Well, I have nice little soft music playing in the background for everyone. I just typed in like Baroque music 1 hour.
So,
If it ain't Baroque.
sorry,
I'll take that.
as I bump my microphone here.
Oh, look,
I
it's
have this hat.
Ooh.
And this is going to be a crucial part of a new impression that I am putting together, which is not going to be associated with any reenacting groups that I'm part of, but it's going to be an impression that I use specifically for YouTube. So it's just something that I can wear when I'm, speaking in front of the camera, and it's not affiliated with any group, and so I don't have to feel as if if I not that I intend to do this, but if I happen to
Say
relay some
something
information that is not
misplaced.
necessarily correct, it doesn't reflect badly on the group.
Yeah.
So it's only myself to blame. But yeah, so this hat, I don't know if you can see it. It has a regimental button on it. It's for a particular regiment, and that regiment is the 38th Regiment of Foot, which is a regiment that I chose for a few reasons, personal reasons, mainly being that they are a regiment that was garrisoned in two places that I have personally lived. So they were in Rhode Island for a period of time. I'm from Rhode Island. And they were also in Boston, and when I had the idea to start assembling the impression, I was living in Boston. I'm not anymore, but yeah, I just thought it was neat to have that sort of connection. And also at the time, there was really no one else representing this particular regiment. Yeah, all of the other regiments that were involved in the Boston Garrison have some form of reenacted group. There really wasn't any recreated 38th at the time that I had the idea to start putting this kit together. There is now. Since I had the idea, there have been some other individuals who have come forward with 38th impressions. But again, as I said, I'm not affiliated with any other pre-established groups. This is purely a YouTube thing.
Now you get to make a whole other group angry when you wear a uniform that they say belongs to them, and I'm sure that'll be a fun time.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I've got the hat. This is made by a gentleman by the name of Matthew Brenkel. You should check him out on Facebook. He goes by M Brenkel. But basically he's a historical hatter, and he makes all sorts of different hats from different eras throughout history. And
he knows his stuff.
Oh, he really does. He does some fantastic work. Jonathan, I believe you have one of his hats as well.
I do. Unfortunately, I don't have my hats up here with me. They're all downstairs. That was a mistake. Bring also my my silver laced hat is kind of iconic to halberd guy. That's I won't make that mistake again. But yeah, honestly, probably the best 18th century hat maker out there by a long shot, because it's all document based, made out of authentic materials. So it really doesn't get better than that at all. Like, if you're gonna in the market for an 18th or early 19th century hat, he's really the only guy I could ever recommend going to.
Oh, Brandon has finished something from a box in the corner.
I have my Brenkel hat, which was when I was going to be an officer in the 54th, and then that fell apart. So now I have a Brenkel hat with nothing to do with it, and I miss having a red coat. I want to get a red coat again one day soon. But I have a Brenkel hat, which is fun. So
speaking
I need to find
an
actual thing to do with it at some point.
Speaking of the red coat, I also have all of the materials ordered to make the actual coat itself. I ordered all of the wool a few months back, and so now it's just a matter of getting it all assembled. Actually, the gentleman who is going to be making the coat is somebody that I've featured in a number of videos on my channel. It's Ian Graves of the Royal Bourbonnais. Leader of a French unit who's very prominent in the Northeast in Rev War reenacting. Yeah, and he also has his own tailoring business and does some very good work. So yeah, he's going to be putting the coat together for me. It's a nice looking coat, I have to say. It's yellow lace, or no, not yellow lace, yellow facings, I should say, with Bastion lace. Just a very sharp-looking coat. Actually,
Bastion lace.
If you look at the poster that Brandon had commissioned for the Wars Hell collaboration, that's the regiment that is being represented within that poster.
Meanwhile, down there, Jem is about to charge the wells of Bathsheba.
I don't have the feathers for it. You guys were talking about hats.
It's a half-cocked hat.
It's true.
Yeah, in a way.
Yes.
There we go.
There we go. Better than some reenactors.
I think that's better than a Brenkel hat right there.
No, not yet. A lot of writing to do this year. I got it's something like 100,000 words to write by July for 3 to 4 different projects. So this year we're going to is about delivering on stuff I promised to do. One of them is very much a surprise. I got put up for writing a chapter for Ian Dale's Kings and Queens omnibus by the wonderful Alex Churchill over at History Hack. And so I have to write about 3,500 words about Henry VI. But that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Things are going well. It's very interesting stuff. And then it's all pretty much 18th century, back to 18th century Spain in the American Revolution. I have to turn the talk I gave at Derby into a chapter for Don Hagist's edited volume for Helion about warfare in the American. Yeah, I see recognition. He's a great guy. Love his stuff. So I need to, and that's going to be about Don Bernardo de Galvez's Gulf Coast campaign up to the 1781.
Oh, Galvez, boy.
Out on the West Coast, we
My
actually
boy,
have a Galvez reenactor.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they do exist. There's not a lot of them, but they're around doing the Granadieros Damas de Galvez, and then there's the Fixed Regiment of Spanish Louisiana. People like that down in the south. And then when that's out of the way, that's about 9,000-10,000 words with notes. We have the actual project that I was contracted to do during the pandemic, when all the archives were closed, and that is the Siege of Pensacola, 1781. Then that's 80,000 words. So, yeah, there's stuff to do. I'm looking forward to it. That's why I don't have a massive plan for the channel, but to sort of keep it going. What I've been thinking of doing, though, the first one went up today, is to sort of do video catch-ups, where I sort of keep everybody up to date with how all that research is going, and the writing is going, and maybe sort of that will keep the channel going, while I'm busy doing this other writing stuff, and then we'll get more videos done. I'm also looking forward to doing more collaborations with you guys.
Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about when my time comes.
Yep. The Illustrious Lads will march again.
Oh yes, indeed. And when you reach towards the end of all that stuff about like the Spanish and American everything, like we should talk, because people have been asking me to make a video on that topic for the longest time. That might be a pretty good way to, I can steal your research and then I can throw people towards buying your book. So I mean, like a little bit of a 50-50, a little bit of a cultural exchange there, Columbian exchange, you might call it.
Ciertamente, señor.
Makes me think of this certain individual online who has been going around basically talking about how Galvez single-handedly won the American Revolution.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well,
you know how you're talking about subcultures earlier? There is a definite subculture that over-eggs the Spanish involvement in the American Revolution.
I border on it, though. I skirt that line, because I think there is so much to be said, not for the American campaign, but the Siege of Gibraltar, and the fact that there is an actual, tangible threat of invasion in 78 all the way through to 80.
I'm not giving away any spoilers at this point by saying basically that as soon as the Spanish entered the war, North America, pretty much became a lost cause. Pretty much, the British were not holding America in any meaningful way once Spanish gold and ships started being put into the French war effort. And the Siege of Gibraltar, it was a massive embarrassment for the Spanish. It was a significant thing, and really, the British basically made a decision, whether it was conscious or unconscious. We will basically trade, because they could have kept the Spanish out of the war by giving them Gibraltar. But the British said, we will sacrifice North America for Gibraltar, pretty much.
Yep. Understandable.
I mean, are you going to go into the British strategy with Spain, or is it mostly the Spanish perspective?
Well, this is the interesting thing about it. Since I guess the bicentenary, there was a fair amount of work done on the Spanish side of things, because up to that point there'd been really nothing. Which is where you get the need for people to study the Spanish and push the Spanish sort of point of view, which then, as Chris was saying, has sort of spiraled in recent years into the Spanish absolutely won the American Revolution, which is going too far the other way. But so there's a lot of good stuff about the Spanish side at Siege of Pensacola, for instance. There is not a great deal of emphasis on the British side, so that's what I've been doing in the National Archives, is looking at the British correspondence from General Campbell to Clinton about what he was going on, what he was doing, and what he was trying to do. So I'm going to try and give a balance.
I think I always talk about, when we talk about American Revolution, I talk about how my favorite book is The Men Who Lost America. It's like that gateway drug into the British did nothing wrong. And I love how they talk about how the Admiralty is just absolutely livid at the idea of sending even one more ship of the line away from the Channel Fleet. And that there's just, everyone is so angry, with that threat of invasion that how could you possibly be spending more naval resources in the American theater? And I just love any time we talk about the global context of the war.
Yeah.
So
General Campbell
amazing.
feels your pain. He really wanted ships to help him out at Pensacola.
Yeah.
The Indian context is another thing that I'd really like to get into at some point, because that's like a whole other flippin'.
We're gonna help some people think that Mysore saved America single-handedly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. That actually is a subject I want to return to. Not specific. Well, actually, I don't know. Interesting. So, I have interest with my editor to do the Mysore Wars at some point, all 4 of them. And I'm hoping to accept that and give them some pitches. Maybe not in the immediacy, because there are some other things I need to get out of the way first. But I definitely want to get back to Indian history.
Well, I hope you create a subculture that thinks that Tipu Sultan's rockets are the reason why modern warfare is modern warfare. So,
that's already done, I think.
Okay, there we go. There we go. We're
It's already there.
Leave a comment. All right. Brandon, have you gone yet?
I have not. So I think I'm the last one for this category. Unless
I have half of mine left.
Just let me prepare myself.
Oh, you're back.
Oh my. Okay. Well. First of all, just another super chat has come in from Wilford just before I begin my own here. $5, sir, saying, final question: should the Canadian parliaments be revoked and the rogues brought back under the reign of His Majesty King Charles?
If I may, most of them, with some exception, I believe, did swear allegiance to the king. So
that's true. They're kind of
there
already.
There were a couple Quebecois they should find their way to St. Helena.
Find their way to. I like that. That's a nice way of phrasing that. Now, all right. So 2023, big things are planned for myself. First of all, another collaboration. It's actually on my to-do list to begin the process of looking into what that would look like. So the last one was a large success. I'm very, very satisfied with how the last one went. Due in part, I think, because of Atan Shay's a bigger channel, sort of breathing new light. The Shogunate was also a larger channel that we brought in, and he was able to help with that a bit. But I'm also thinking that the topic was just really, really solid, because it was broad yet specific. It was across all different time periods, but all with the same central theme, which is a very strong way of going about that, I think. And any tips for creating a cocked hat? Not at all, I'm afraid. You have to talk to the individual groups of that. Not a clue. Buy it from Brinkle. That's my tip. Anyway, sorry, reading the chat. I'm thinking that the next collaboration is going to be with a couple of months in advance. We're talking half a year or something like that, or 4 or 5 months. And I'm hoping with that much notice, we'll be able to get a number of a lot more channels involved, larger channels that plan things out much more in advance. And I don't want to start listing names, because then people are going to assume that I've already been talking to them and getting people. I've not been talking to anyone, but I have a list of people that I want to approach to see if we can sucker them in. Making an even bigger one. Has to decide on a final topic as well. If anyone has an idea, then by all means, please let me know. But I think there's a number of possibilities as far as various historical themes are concerned. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that'll involve everyone here, of course, if you would like to be involved. otherwise, as far as 2023 is concerned for myself, a lot more videos. Here's hoping, and I'm hoping to start on like an all like probably like a 3 videos a month schedule is what I'd like to get to. So that's the goal. This current video has been severely delayed. It's on Recast, everyone. Hey, if you haven't watched it already, you can go and watch it for free. It's right there. It's very easy to view. I'm just waiting for sponsor approval. There's no sponsor on the Recast video. The sponsor's going to be on YouTube. I just have to wait to get approval from them, which has been frustrating. But in any case, yeah, more videos, hopefully, is going to happen because of a better and also a more fixed schedule. I don't have to worry about personal things as much now. Things are working out and along there pretty well. More live streaming, here's hoping. I'm actually thinking my partner and I are probably going to be doing a live stream next week sometime. Maybe playing Goose Game or something like that. That'd be fun. But more stuff like that, more variety streaming, more things along those lines. And a book project as well. I began it last November with NaNoWriMo. I didn't really write all too much, and then what I did write accidentally wound up getting wiped, so I lost all my progress, but that's okay, because I learned a little bit about the way that I want to write it, and so now the process has begun again. I'm gonna aim for it to be around like 50 or 60,000 words, I think, so not as much as Lando's there, and of course, it's going to be a fiction work. It's going to be just a creative story. The entire idea is that I'm going to set it in a like quasi-Napoleonic, quasi-18th century world, but it's going to be a fantasy setting. It's going to be, you know, like pretend countries and everything. I know, right? I know. But my goal is to use fantasy to try and impart some actual knowledge about a real time period. And then also just but what's all the surprise for?
Can the Ottomans be orcs?
Oh God, no Ottoman orcs. Although I definitely want to get some Ottoman influences in one of the nations. The basic premise is there are like, it's gonna be set in like a part of the world, not a whole world, but there are 3 main like players, like nation state wise. The entire idea is that it's like a perfectly like normal world. There's no fantasy elements in it at all. It's like just the late 18th century along a different timeline with different geography and different nations. But at one point, a fantasy big bad of some sort, a fantasy thing happens, and it begins to slowly change this world, and it's going to be about exploring how the world reacts to and responds to this new presence. I'm thinking it may even be such a thing. It's going to be from the perspective of an individual soldier who enlists with the military, and he's going off on what he thinks is going to be a campaign to capture a few coastal cities because this one empire has been weakened because of the big bad, but they don't know the big bad is there. They just know this big old empire that's kind of like a mixture between like King China and like Tsarist Russia blended together. This like mega empire down south, like, oh, they're kind of weakened now. They're going. Sorry, I don't want to go off too much about like the story and everything. I'll do that
It's
one.
vaguely like The Witcher.
To come out. Is it? I've actually not read any of the Witcher books.
A little bit.
No, but yeah, no, but that's kind of the idea. Is that like it's a real world responding to a fantastical world. It's gonna be it's I'm thinking first person. It's so far what I have written is first person. I think I'm gonna stick with that, and I'm really trying to evoke feelings of like Rifleman Harris or Joseph Plum Martin, you know, like all these iconic primary sources. He's writing about what he sees, what he's doing. And yeah, I have a few ideas floating around in the back of my mind for what I want him to experience. I know what the basic path of the journey is going to be, but long story short, he's basically going to be a he is going to be joining the Vescactrian like volunteers. I forgot the exact name of the unit that I have, or I have a name for the regiment, but the Vescactrian volunteers, who are in the hire of the something or other, the state of Kaletzia, which is kind of like a weird, like New England Venetian trading power on the coast. They're hiring out this like continental European nation to get a whole bunch of soldiers, and they're using those soldiers to wage this war against this giant Westdrovian pseudo-Russian Chinese empire, Indian empire, to conquer some settlements along the line. And then, oh no, it turns out bad things are happening, and we got all sorts of delightful flesh horror-y, Lovecraftian, I'm hoping, type nonsense to take place. So that's my big project for like the whole year, is I'm hoping to have a finished product by the end of the year. And we'll continue working on all sorts of things like that. Hopefully hitting 200,000 by the end of the year. That's another goal of mine. And I think if I can make the video objectives work out, then that'll work out pretty well. More collaboration projects. I'm actually going to be in Massachusetts towards like around the beginning of August. So for my Massachusetts people, pointing at John and Chris for you guys, because you don't know who I'm pointing to there. But anyways, maybe we can do a little bit of something with all that. Daryl, I will be in, hopefully I should be able to be in California at the end, more towards, I won't say the exact time because doxing stuff, but towards the end of the year, and maybe we can do something together then and there, maybe. You're going to be busy, I know, with obvious stuff, but maybe. And also I also might be in Florida actually sometime this year. I have some family down there that I have to see, so maybe I'll try.
That's where they won the American Revolution.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
bringing it back.
So maybe something there as well. But otherwise, that's all of that, and I'm very excited for this year. Very excited indeed.
Well, my other half with the actual YouTube, we got a lot of YouTube stuff coming up. I'm going to be doing. I might, if there's interest in it, I might be doing some live streams actually down by Buckingham Palace, maybe with some commentary on the uniforms and stuff like that, and some of the ceremonial aspects of it all, and have some exclusive access to some interesting historic sites that we'll be seeing soon. That's going to be very exciting.
There's like a big royal event happening at some point as well, isn't there? Something happening.
Yeah, there is,
maybe.
and yeah.
I'm hoping
that's going to be
that, maybe.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge thing in May.
Don't give it away.
Well, it's
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. And then I guess one of the last things for my channel / me in public history is Lord Rivers is going analog. I will be offering physical walking tours in London.
Yes.
I might do a few live streams with them for people that aren't in London, but I'm going to be doing some actual physical walking tours here in London with I'm making like a Crimean War London and some Victorian ones, and then my favorite one is American Civil War London, which you wouldn't think there would be American Civil War London, but there's a lot of American Civil War London, and awesome. The clickbaity title is that the most important battle of the Civil War was fought in the Foreign Office. So. Or on the floor of the House of Commons, whatever.
I had my plans for tours in Boston, and then COVID happened. I wish you no pandemics.
Yes.
The plague will not return.
So yeah, there's all kinds of exciting projects, and everybody's gonna hopefully edit all of their videos, and we're gonna get going.
Indeed.
Any questions in the chat that we have to answer still?
Chat individuals. We got 50 of you in the chat. Anyone have any questions for any of us? What are you all planning on doing in the new year? What history things are you looking forward to? Give us things to talk about for a few moments, if you would please.
And I did have the last question as what are we all wearing? And what's the new and exciting like thing that we bought ourselves in 2022? But I think we've all shared them
for the most part.
So, yeah, this is my broke 21st century millennial impression. It's it's 100% not hand sewn.
Ah,
Yeah,
very convincing.
you can see that it comes with a Brankle hat and not the rest of the impression.
Oh no, Brinkle hat not included. That is sold
No,
separately.
that's part of the 21st century reenactor impression. You got to have
actually,
the most expensive item.
No, this is
and
the
then
reason
not
why
the
I'm
rest.
broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of understand that like 2023 unfortunately is going to be kind of another lost year for me in terms of reenactment. I'd like to get out to Newville. I need to kind of like throw myself at the feet of the borders or something and like plead to let me come to an event or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, some group I'm sure I'll be able to find to take me for World War One. But other than World War One, hopefully I don't really have anything that I'll be able to do. I don't think. If I got up to the UK, maybe I can do a Napoleonic event. I'm hoping that by 2024 I might be in a better well no, because even then hopefully I'll be in the position where I'm saving money at that point, able to move over to the UK permanently. Maybe 2025 will be my year. Maybe in 2025 I'll be able to actually have money to buy a uniform, a kit for something, so I can actually start wearing things in my videos again. That would be fantastic. I want to do 1790s British militia kit, like one of those volunteer units eventually. But yeah, we'll have to see about that.
That's my dream too. We
be
need to
really
do
cool.
whether it's militia or sea fencibles, but just like
Yeah.
a really bad unit done really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the supplemental militia. We could
pretty
recreate
much.
that
Yeah.
caricature.
But not done poorly, done really well. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in the way that the Ragged Victorians are amazing at portraying, the great unwashed. They aren't portraying, the most prestigious regiment.
Yeah.
They're just portraying the worst parts of daily life. I want to be just the worst regiment that would not be helpful, would be a hindrance to the defense.
Come on now, there's not that. The way that I kind of see it with an impression like this, and this is more the direction that I would want to take things, is like when it comes to like the best reenactors, they're still like by actual military standards, they're still going to be subpar. But if you're portraying a militia group, then like if you drill like once every event, you're probably going to reach a pretty good standard for like what you might expect for one of those, like lower quality. They're just there for if stuff really hits the fan. Maybe do some events where like, you're like digging up a road or like trying to like stack logs. There's like the French are over there, like get stuff in the way so they don't get us, some stuff like that.
Yeah, the jokes
really
aside,
cool.
that's where I kind of see it too. And I also got that idea with because that a lot of those impressions won't require muskets. They got pikes, they got tools.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot of opportunities for that kind of thing. Absolutely.
Tell you where the
tools.
I'll tell you where the gold is. The core of drivers.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Or the Royal Wagon Train.
One, I think one superseded the other, but I think the Corps of Drivers had a terrible reputation in the Napoleonic Wars for being lazy, drunk.
The Royal Wagon Train actually has a battle honor. I think they're the only logistics that has a battle honor.
Oh.
Yeah, I think one of the two. I can't remember. I haven't looked at Napoleonic stuff like deep sort of military Napoleonic stuff for a while, but definitely one of the logistical cores, and it was something to do with the drivers. They had to drive the guns back before the Royal Artillery was properly set up. That just had the worst reputation for efficiency, and just they were almost a hindrance. It seemed Wellington was not terribly pleased with them.
Or like here,
but I think one of the things that it's great to have when you do a reenactment, have an actual goal, not just to show up and strut. And I think that this militia impression would be great if you're renting out one of those coastal forts. And
yes,
I would love to do renting out a Martello Tower, or renting out. You can actually rent out full forts in the Channel Islands.
Yeah. I just showed a picture for everyone on the stream, like just an idea of like what one of those many volunteer groups looked like. Their uniforms could get pretty wonky too. Like some of them have tall gaiters, some of them have trousers, some of them are wearing like different colored trousers and breeches. Some of them have like Tarleton helmets, others have Shakos and all sorts of wacky stuff.
And some of them are too well funded and have amazing uniforms.
Yeah, and some of them not at all. That's there's a lot of opportunities.
Some of the militia or volunteer units that were raised early in the war or late in the revolution were so well put together they just got put into the line, pretty much.
And the similar problem, but it got even worse, is the volunteer movement in the Victorian era. It got so good that it turned into a social club.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of ways, a lot of volunteer regiments became just a social club. I mean, eventually they turned into the territorials, but for so many people, it was a gentleman's shooting club with uniforms.
You're making
That
it better.
sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. It's so there's so many parallels to reenacting. They actually called them sham battles, and they do these maneuvers, oftentimes with the real army. And
Well,
then
like
we're
Brandon
doing
said
our sham battles.
Yeah, like Brandon said before, though, if you really look at what reenactment is, especially the ones with the muskets, what you are doing is essentially creating a militia.
Yeah.
You know, in real terms, that is what the militia did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put on their uniforms on the weekend, they went and trained, and you know, if you see some of the big events and you see the troops maneuvering, you're probably looking at something along the lines of the quality of good, at the best, good trained militia.
Well, there's that
Things are
painting,
going
the
very
mock
poorly.
attack by de Lutherberg. They would literally, that's how you practice, is you just have a reenactment, basically. It's, yeah.
Things are going very poorly if we get called up.
Yeah, exactly.
We are the reserve. I'll call up the reenactors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
dear.
I think that would be a really cool thing to like start looking at. Like when hopefully finally living in the UK, that's my goal by 2025. And to begin looking into that kind of thing, get a couple of viewers involved, get a nice little cadre of people. I think that'd be really, really cool as an impression. A lot of compelling stories to be had there. We can dress Daryl up as our spokesman, and he can go off on all sorts of delightful tangents for us.
I will attempt to slap a king's shilling into the palms of many an unsuspecting spectator.
You could be a pretty good like sergeant who actually knows what he's doing, and then I'm the scared little ensign who's like, I don't know how any of this works, and you're like, come along, son, I'll teach you how to actually army.
Yeah, I'm just here for legal reasons because you need an officer. All the time. Yeah. Dear. I just had this vision of like things have gotten really bad and the territorials have fallen and they call up the reenactors and the wars and the medieval reenactors show up.
Let's see. Here, I'll look to the chat for a few questions here. One or two of them are interesting. What's the most recent period that everyone reenacts for those who do reenact? I mean, for me, it's World War II, Soviet Red Army, which is interesting.
Mine is the Second World War with the Royal Rifles of Canada and Winnipeg Grenadiers, 1941. That's as modern as we get. That's
Are you with any groups for that?
further. Yes, we are a little tiny
awesome.
group, really small group. Yep.
Cool.
Let's go no further. Then you get too modern too quick, and it's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Well, my most modern, quote unquote, impression is 1993. Nagorno-Karabakh for an Azerbaijani soldier.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
that's the most recent.
That's the year I was born.
I was alive then.
The future is now, old man.
I'm doing the Saving Private Ryan face morph gif right now.
Chris, what's your most modern?
My most modern is World War One. I currently do not do anything more recent than that. I've dabbled with the idea of maybe doing some World War II related stuff. I wouldn't ever seriously reenact World War II, I don't think. But I mean, I do like the look of some British kit from World War II. So, like around Operation Market Garden, stuff like that. There's an aesthetic there that I find somewhat pleasing. But
Here's there's actually a question specifically for you, Chris, if I may, saying what impression specifically are you doing with 38th Foot? Is it just a battalion private, or
it's just regular old battalion company private.
Cool.
Just standard head company stuff.
Yeah.
Other ranks.
I've had people get mad at me in the past for referring to them as enlisted rather than other ranks.
Yeah.
Other ranks.
We got a comment for me. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna let you decide if you want to actually touch on that one. We don't have to touch on that.
What was it?
I mean,
It's his modern impression
Not really.
being rather politically heated.
not really. Not really.
Okay. Let's see. How long does it usually take for a war to become reenactment material? Depends on who you ask. I know some people who do like Vietnam. I know guys who do like Bosnian War events, which
People
makes
are
me
doing
kinda,
Ukraine right now.
Hard to. It's in Ukraine.
There are people actually doing Ukraine 2020, not
Oh,
2014, 2020.
That's kind of
That's great.
cringe.
That's
really
very
That's
cringe.
a little cringe.
You know what I mean? 2020.
But then
you know what I mean?
it's the same question to ask with most reenactors is why, and what you see sometimes it's an airsoft impression,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and maybe you could see
Oh,
dressing
yeah,
up
it's,
for the airsoft stuff.
An
Um,
acquaintance of mine in the chat, Sean,
why?
who's an ex-British Army sniper, said, yeah, there are airsofters recreating Ukrainian battles, which, like,
Okay,
yeah, that kind of passes far too modern for me, I think.
but then again, that's just getting into a completely different subculture.
Well,
That's-
airsoft is like its whole other
isn't
thing, 'cause that's more Milsim. Reenacting, I
Yeah.
always consider like an improv display. It's an improv
Yeah.
show, whereas airsoft is like an actual sport. And yeah, but at that point, I feel like if you like slap a Ukrainian like sticker on your side and you like start like acting as if you are, that kind of gets a little weird because like just do modern day Milsim. You know what I mean? Like just like wear whatever stuff you want because like it doesn't. I don't know. That's a bit much for me.
There's like a particular. I mean, anything that's happening within the last year certainly seems much too soon
Yeah.
to be trying to portray.
Like when
any
you could be having a conversation with someone your own age and like they could be a volunteer fighting over the lake.
like at the second, as we all know, we what we're getting from the war zone is essentially the propaganda of both sides. It's you're not going to, the further away from it you get is when you're going to get analysis of what happened.
Yeah, that's
Very
true. It's like how
difficult.
can you really have an authentic portrayal when it's ongoing? It's like you
Yeah.
don't know how this thing's. It's a bit of a mess.
But it's probably like a relative question, right? I mean, reenacting the way as we know it right now is probably still too young a thing to be able to say when does something become able to be reenacted. So it's very much, I think, up to individuals' sensibilities, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, personally,
For me, I
anything
mean,
past 1999 is no go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's there are certain areas that I would personally regard as being too recent, but too recent for me is something like Vietnam. But that's changing, I think, as the generations progress. Because because a lot of the younger generations today, they have grandparents who fought in Vietnam or Korea even. Whereas my grandparents were all World War II. So
Wow.
I think it's sort of it's a matter of like what type of personal connection do you have to it.
Yeah, the more removed you are as an individual plays a role for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although for some people it's because they're connected to it, is because they want to react it. So.
Yeah.
I don't have any
And-
experience of it or anything like that, but I personally would choose a conflict or a period that the majority of the people are no longer there.
Yeah.
Particularly, I mean, I can see why people do World War II and stuff like that. I don't know how I would feel though. I don't know how it feels to dress as a soldier from World War II and meet a soldier from
Yeah.
World War II.
Although most experiences, I've not met anyone myself like in that situation, but I've seen people have those conversations, and I've spoke with other, and for the most part, it seems like most people are like interested, and they're like, "Whoa, this is really cool. I remember when I had this, that, and the other," and they're kind of excited to see that young people are learning the history and are interested in it. But it does, yeah. But you're absolutely right. Is that it can be very easily it can be an uncomfortable situation. And to be fair, I don't think the kinds of guys who would take offense to that sort of stuff, they're not going to be going to the events.
Probably
You know,
not.
so it's a limited selection in that way, or whatever the statistical term would be. Yeah, when I reenact the Gulf Wars, absolutely, I could press those buttons all day. That'd be great. Just don't be one of the guys on the ground. It's a very easy event to do. But all right, Daryl, do we have anything else for the evening?
I don't have anything else. I think that we managed to stay mostly positive for an entire night. That was
did.
very good. And we
job,
didn't
everyone.
just talk about comments. Amazing.
And even then, the majority of comments are still positive. It's just a few of them are very, very nasty people, and so we gotta, you know.
You put on your comment helmet? What, Jim?
Helmets.
But
Wait, what about the helmet?
Oh, you said helmets. We didn't talk about helmets. That's why. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Put on the helmet.
You want to talk about helmets?
No, we're not going to talk about.
Tell us about the helmet.
that's it. He's wearing a
Amazing.
helmet.
Okay. We managed
All right.
to get that out.
Otherwise,
Good talk.
everyone, let's see here. $65 on the whole have been donated, which we multiply that by 0.7 because that's after YouTube's fees and everything. That's $45. We'll find some cause to throw that towards. I'm thinking probably just Royal British Legion. It's a good default unless anyone can think of anything else in particular. But otherwise, all right. Very good, very good.
All right. Well, make sure you are subscribed to all 6 of us.
Indeed.
We have a lot of exciting content coming out, and you never know what channel we're going to show up on.
Except for the one channel. You know which one not to subscribe
Oh,
to.
you know.
You know, the one.
The one.
We all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We mentioned
All right, everyone.
previously.
Thank you so very much for being here with us. It was a lot of fun, and more things are always to follow. You have not heard the last of these illustrious gentlemen. Adventures in Historyland, Ottoman Reenactor, the Far Off Something or Other, Chris the Redcoat. Oh, where is he? Chris the Redcoat, and his lordship from the Ministry of History. Thank you all. Au revoir, farewell, adieu, and bye-bye. Now they can't see us, but they can still hear us. Hold on, right now they